ComBank Summit, Forward Together 2025, creating a sustainable future.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to welcome you to this technical session on sustainable agriculture and food system, a topic that sits at the heart of global conversations around climate resilience, food security, and inclusive development. I think I have a very little to say after Professor Marbe has given a thundering presentation a few minutes ago, but at the best interest of time, let me make it to the subject matter very quickly. We live in a world where agriculture is not just about producing food, but about nourishing people, protecting environment, and ensuring livelihoods across generations. Sustainability in agriculture isn't a luxury anymore. It is a necessity. From climate resilient and biodiversity to soil health and equitable market access, the choices we make today will shape the food systems tomorrow. I think that was very well insisted on the previous presentation. Today we are joined by the three eminent experts in this field, each bringing unique perspectives to deep experience to the discussion. So I'll do my best to keep this conversation as interesting and meaningful, and more importantly, leave enough time for Q&A with all of you. If you have any questions, please write them in a piece of paper and pass them across to me. I think the ComBank team around will be able to assist in this regard. So let's get started. My first question is to Professor Silva. Regenerative and climate-smart agriculture are often highlighted as key solutions for building sustainable food systems. But truly, scaling these practices, we need clear proof that they work in different settings. It can be in Sri Lanka, it can be globally. I think it was very, well articulated in the previous presentation. So, Professor, what evidence in terms of results, experiences from around the world and also in Sri Lanka shows that regenerative and climate-smart agriculture can be successfully implemented at scale? I think we all know that these regenerative agriculture in smallholder farming or backyard farming we have seen that happening, but how can it be implemented at scale?
Yeah, thank you, Anujan, and thank you for having me here in this forum. Actually, your question, I want to answer in making it different, taking it in different parts. So when, to me, I see the agriculture is having very big two challenges. One is, as keynote speaker said, the climate change. The other one is feeding the people, the food security, where the food systems come into the picture. And these very two challenges keeping the agriculture into a vicious cycle. Because feeding people, we have to expand agriculture. In expanding agriculture, we are emitting more greenhouse gases. So the climate change is happening. To break this vicious cycle, these two things that you mentioned, regenerative agriculture and climate-smart agriculture, are coming to the picture. So these two terms are we use it in a similar manner because they have similarities as well as differences. We have to think about that. So regenerative agriculture is not a new thing. And also it has common parts with the climate-smart agriculture. So to me, I define regenerative agriculture as a people-centric activity and also more ecological, having more ecological sense, having more towards talking about soil health, biodiversity, So therefore, you will find that, as you very correctly said, Danujan, towards smallholder systems, in home gardening, backyard poultry, all these systems, we see the regenerative agriculture practiced by smallholder systems. But when it comes to climate smart agriculture, it is more driven through institutions, policies, governance, technology. So therefore, the focus is broader. So without these two, we cannot break the vicious cycle of the agriculture which is facing the feeding people and also facing the challenges of climate change, which we call adaptation. So when it comes to the measurable indicators, we have to look at these regenerative agriculture and climate smart agriculture under three, according to my understanding, three big measurements. One is the productivity, which is very important in feeding the people, and also the adaptation. That is where the key role that we are talking about in climate smart agriculture, and also the mitigation, the reducing the greenhouse gas emission. So this, when you talk about the activities, the measurable indicators, these three are coming to the picture. And when we are talking about the examples, there are a lot of examples that you can talk about and give according to the productivity enhancement, according to the adaptation, and also the mitigation, the greenhouse gas emission reduction. And these examples are not universal because they are very location specific, practice specific, because there are a lot of determinants that come into the picture when we talk about the measurable indicators of climate smart agriculture. So based on these things, so there are examples, they are not universal to all the places in the world. They are very specific to the locations they are practicing and the context of the individuals who are practicing it. And also, when we talk about scalability, that also depends on several factors. So several factors, if I just list some factors, say for example, when we talk about the scalability, it depends on the capacity and the adaptive capacity of the people who are practicing it, and also the resources available, and also the technology, the transfer ability of the people and the nation. So those are depending on those factors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. I think that was fairly detailed. I think we have got the basics for us to keep moving. I think the next question that I have is to Mr. Munasinghe. As we look at to scale sustainable farming practices, it is clear that no single solution or actor can do it alone. Success depends on strong, supportive environment that connects policy, finance, and science. So the question to you is, how can we build such enabling ecosystems to scale these practices more efficiently and effectively across different landscapes, especially in vulnerable areas in Sri Lanka?
Thank you, Anujan, and very good afternoon to all of you. So he very clearly brought up three elements, that is finance, science, and policy. I would start with policy though. This is actually not easy. You all would simply understand to bring these three together, because we have been trying this for decades. So without a proper mechanism, a policy in a country, especially when it comes to agriculture, bringing all these three elements into one and trying to find a mechanism to drive those elements on the ground, we will never achieve this. So 2021, we also supported, FA also supported the government of Sri Lanka to draft the current, what we have is the same, for the time being, even though it is not gone into the cabinet and approved yet. A couple of times it's gone, but not yet approved. But we have an agriculture policy. There are people who have supported even in this audience. Professor Marabi is one person. We have an agriculture policy that discusses all what Anojan asked me. It has finance, it has policies, it has decisions, it has science, it has even, you could say ecosystems, you name. It has productivity, it has everything that is needed. So we really want such a document to be adopted and all taken it positively and someone to drive. So we are hopeful that the policy will come out soon, but at the same time, there are certain elements into it. We all believe, right now, even the current government, they talk about digitization at a very high level. They talk about the poverty reduction. These are all common elements, but we need to make sure that we bring the new technologies, new research findings, which are affordable for the ground level farmers to put, practice and simply add value in terms of bringing more food to the country. So basically, we would like to see an inclusive mechanism where you really touch base the requirements of the ground level. We can't forget the farmer, fisherman, you name. We can't forget marginalized but very productive, communities such as women entrepreneurs, youth, entrepreneurs. They're really important. But the question, do we have any invitation for them? Do we have, proper pathways to them? Thanks to some of the segments in the country, like banking and finance industry, they have at least taught certain areas by providing certain, value-added services. But without a policy level, directive, I don't think we can speak about in bringing these policy, science, and finance together. We always talk about now financing. I can talk here. I feel shame now to talk about those terms. Dr. Marabi very clearly said earlier, sustainability, sustainable, the term, that we have basically killed, I would say. But how much or how many of you or us really practicing it, right? When it comes to financing, sustainable, we talk about sustainable financing. We talk about blended financing. We talk about, finance or the climate finance security now. Very high-end concepts. Where do we get these? From other countries. Why we do get them? Because they're practicing. So we look at, say other countries, we look at the other country productions, say good practices, success stories, we bring it here and we talk. But it's high time, Anojan, let's see, simple mechanisms that we can simply bring together and do together. As we all understand, collaboration is a must now. We should not work in silos anymore. We should go for the best demand and the best solution rather than, thinking of one or a particular organization's expertise that will not work hereafter. I have more, maybe in the next rounds, depending on the questions he asks, we will discuss a little bit more. Thanks, Anojan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manasinghe. Without further ado, let me quickly move on to Mr. Dematava. I have two questions which are interconnected to each other. The first question is, in the face of Sri Lanka's ongoing climate and economic challenges, what role can agriculture sector play, particularly the private sector, playing in advancing sustainable practices? Follow-up question is, how can these approaches contribute meaningfully to both climate mitigation and resilience of our food systems?
Yes, I think Professor Marbe and Nalin, so they mentioned it very clearly. I think as agriculturists and also the scientists, Department of Agriculture, individually most of them, they have done their part. So for me also, what I feel, we are missing little parts here and there. So we are talking about regenerative agriculture. It's a huge term, but how we are protecting our soil, whether we are practically doing it, whether we are practically talking about it. Can we expect can we expect anything out of the soil the way we are using it? So those are the questions that we are having. Again, when we are going for these agriculture systems, whether we are managing our agriculture systems properly. So we are talking about agriculture. Even in a small business that we are, like any bulattita kade, we are having management. Whether we are managing our agriculture systems, and whether we are bringing appropriate technology. So we are talking about technology, whether we have to see whether it is appropriate. So whether we are bringing innovation to the system correctly. So those are the things that we have to look at broadly, which you, the question that you raised. So we have to look at how we can manage everything together. So when you're talking about, so there are, from the private sector, I can bring, because I can bring very, very simple examples, whether how we are damaging our systems, maybe without knowing. Maybe sometimes we don't have to do any other thing, so then we are doing it. According to Professor Marambe's presentation, so our urea application is not enough. But whether we are using that nitrogen properly without affecting our climatic conditions, and so whether we are using it correctly. Our people, whether they are managing their soil, because what we can see when you are meeting farmers, working with farmers, they just think that when you are applying some fertilizers, that plant shows that greenery, then they think that is the everything is correct, but that is not. Whether they have that knowledge, that total soil biological system, whether it's working properly, they don't have any idea of that. So those are the very minute areas that we have to look at. So those are the areas where the productivity, the improving productivity in these food systems. So that one area, because we are not considering soil biological activities, we are just adding fertilizers. We have a naked root system. We are not bothering about the mycorrhiza around the root system. So those are the very minute things, but we are not talking about. And also, very, very, very small example. Why, just to tell you that we are not concerning very small areas when you are doing agriculture. So he discussed about seed paddy. Normally, 1 acre of paddy land, it need only about, I think, 400,000 plants just to cover that land. According to the findings, most of the time, because we have 90% of the paddy lands we have broadcasted. Seed paddy, to produce seed paddy, it is not an easy task. So it's not just paddy. When you are, there's a separate mechanism to produce seed paddy. The government has to involve, government research centers they have to involve, they have to bring the basic seeds. So it is a process. It's a difficult task, but we are wasting our seed paddy. Normally, we are throwing more than 1.6 million to 2 million seeds for 1 acre, but we need only 400,000 plants. So those are the small areas that we have to look into. So it's a broad topic, but I just wanted to summarize it here. So there are many places in this food system. You have to break it for the small pieces. And you have to look at the areas that we can improve, whether this part is affecting climatic changes, or this part is harmful, whether it's harmful for soil, and whether this part is affecting our productivity level. So likewise, you have to study this food system, and you have to break it to small pieces. And we have missed our interconnection So we have to bring everything and all the stakeholders together, and we have to have one common goal to improve this food system, ensure the productivity levels, and protect our regenerative agriculture system for the future use. So that is my answer for your question.
Thank you, Priyanka. Moving on to Professor Silva on my next question. When we speak about the current context, agriculture, there are two elements which are inevitable. One is innovation and technology. So I think these questions to the panel members are going to be based on that. How are digital agriculture, precision farming, and biotechnology driving climate adaptation and improving productivity across the agri-value chain, particularly in the context like Sri Lanka, where resource efficiency and resilience are critical?
That is a very good question, Anujan. Actually, you mentioned very key words here, the digital agriculture, and the precision farming and biotechnology. And also you brought up the value chain, right? So when we talk about these three components, they are, according to my interpretation, they are transformers of agriculture. So when we listen to Mr. Demataval, he said that there are resource efficiency should be there. So you have more fertilizer and more broadcast to get the agriculture going. So you're wasting resources. So that's where this digital agriculture and also the precision agriculture play a role. So when we talk about digital agriculture, what we are doing is that we are getting information, real-time information. So say for example, by looking at the soil, and we generate the profile for the soil, and we get the fertilizer requirement to the particular point precisely, and then apply. So these are the digital agriculture comes to the picture. And also when you talk about the animal husbandry, then you are monitoring animals, the welfare, the health status, then and there, and then treat the animals precisely. So therefore, we are not wasting resources, and we are not wasting our money on the unproductive manner. So when it comes to the precision farming, so the digital agriculture and precision farming are going hand in hand. So when you generate the digital agriculture system, then it will feed the precise farming agriculture system. So because you need the decision, the information-driven decision making in precision agriculture. And when it comes to biotechnology, it is the technology that we can, people say that we can do wonders, right? So sometimes it is sort of described badly, but to me, biotechnology is a very sort of powerful tool where you can bring the future today. So when it comes to biotechnology, if we talk about the animal health or the plant health, so the vaccine production or the pesticide or the production of the pesticides, again, then you can apply the biotechnological tools and making it so precise and also effective. And also, when it comes to biotechnology, we are using biotechnology for generating the varieties that is suitable for heat tolerance varieties and the salinity tolerance varieties. So, the normal agricultural breeding system we are using, we are producing similar things, but with the biotechnological tools that we can enhance the productivity and also the time duration that we are spending on this, the breeding and improvement program. So therefore, the three technologies you mentioned are like going hand in hand in transforming the agriculture system. And when you come to, when you talk about the value chain and the system, we have to not only talk about the production, but also the transport and the shelf life and going to the consumer as well. So the digital agriculture, when we develop, you can get the signals from the market, and then market information can be delivered then and there, then the production can be very efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. My next question goes to Mr. Munasinghe. I think there is no one else better in this panel to answer to this question. What models or approaches have shown promise in ensuring that smallholders, women, and youth in Sri Lanka have equitable access to agricultural innovations and technology? With your experience, with your global experience, you can actually see, or your views on how smallholders, women, and youth can be, how can they have equitable access to agricultural innovation and technologies in Sri Lanka?
Right, thank you. Smallholder, I think very much closer to Sri Lankan agriculture sector. We are talking about big companies, we all know. You take paddy, tea, rubber, coconut, the major crops of this country. Every sector, the major contribution still coming from smallholder. In certain sectors, it's over 60% like paddy. But then still, they are the ones who are mostly, or I would say leastly, looked into, right? Or mostly disadvantaged. All problems are with them. They can't have an access to loan, they don't have technology, they don't have knowledge. We are always talking about good technology, research, all. We have our professors also here, not blaming, we are all part of it. But are we happy that our smallholder has got the right technology, right amount of money, good support from government departments, entities, let be for exporting, for importing, for value addition, for research? Now, to answer your question, to talk about the best models, obviously it's nice to have private sector on board, it's nice to have big companies, big players on board, but at this level, at this point in time in Sri Lanka, we can't forget the smallholder yet. And that's what exactly at UN, FAO, we are always targeting still the smallholder, and slowly we are now looking into the big picture, but without forgetting the smallholder. We are trying to connect. I remember Professor Marabe's last slide, last point, connecting the ground level with the markets or the upper level. We are doing it now, we have started. So, in order to bring this done, you need models, you're right, it's timely. We had to also start with, so-called famous models. Farmer field school model, right? Which was introduced this country about, 30, 40 years ago, if I can remember. Again, FAO intervened, right? That model, the way it was introduced, might not work today. You need to improve. You need to see the different formats of farmer field schools, which we are now practicing. But I can tell you, that is one of the best models still to take the high-level knowledge through the extension conduit down to the farmer level, which many of us are still using. Then what happens? You take the knowledge and you do something, people learn, but there at the ground level, you don't have any collective way of utilizing it. So we have time to time proven the farmer-producer organization concept. Now today, we talk about what? Public utility companies, PUCs. Through the modernization project, they also tested, proven, and we are using it now. Good models, Anujan. We need to further support, say, commercial bank. Thanks to them for bringing all of us together here in this forum. You all can take a major leadership with other financial institutions in the best form. Bring the formats, bring the models, bring frameworks, support them further. But have your own monitoring and evaluation mechanisms. This is very important. And at the climate smart, very important, always talking about climate smart agriculture, best agricultural practices through GAP. Today we talk about CS GAP, climate smart good agricultural practices. Without them, you can't. I'll let you know a little bit more on this food system we all talk about. Professor started. Food system transformation, for me, is a change. Simply, you change the way you have been practicing, you have been farming. Then the question comes, what level, what to change, right? I would add 2 more concepts into it. Originally, we know the value chain. We always talk about the value chain, supply chain, and trying to add further and further value from the paddy field to yours and mine's plate. No, you say farm to fork concept. Now, on top of this, you need to bring ESG today. You all know that, economic, social, governance, environmental principles. Without that, that is not sustainable. And the second thing, One Health. You really need to bring animal health, environment health, and also human health onto it. And when these 3 work together, all 3 in one, nice to talk, easy to talk, but very difficult to work. But we need to work anyways. When all 3 comes together, it's food system transformation. The future, where even FAO tries with entire world today. You really need to look into that. And that is where different countries further look into bringing their absolute advantage and then beyond comparative advantage and support each other. Very important. Digital platforms, FAO has just brought all, at least agriculture elements together under Cropics platform, and we are now trying to link it to the national platform through an interoperability framework under the IDAT project. The only thing governments change, people change, ministries change. It's a big problem for us. Because we can start, but there is no end, We don't see ends, in our most of the concepts that we start. Because of they are all beyond our control, unfortunately, right? Even governments control sometimes, I personally feel. But then, if we just keep doing like this, we will never see the results. We need to bring specialized groups to support. Private sector is one of the best now. So likewise, there are a lot of models that we can bring here. We have proven, tested models, but we need to take them at a different, wavelength and trying to support for better results. Anyway, I'll stop there, Anuj, on that.
Thank you very much. Let me direct this question to Professor Silva. In terms of enabling policy and climate finance for transformation, I have a question on that context. What types of policies have proven effective in accelerating the transition to sustainable agriculture in your experience? What type of policies have proven effective in accelerating the transition to sustainable agriculture?
Yeah, when we talk about the policies, actually, when we talk about the sustainable agriculture, we talk about the digital agriculture and also the precision agriculture and also the biotechnology and climate smart agriculture. So all these, the activities need an enabling environment. So the enabling environment, when you talk about the enabling environment, the policies and also the institutional collaborations, as Mr. Munasinghe very correctly mentioned. So whatever the said and done, the ultimately implementation on ground is very, very important. So therefore, the institutional collaborations and also the private, public, people partnerships. So I put the people there because when we talk about the agriculture, we cannot forget about the smallholder system, where the people sort of are the key there. So therefore, we have to have the partnership in taking them all on board in making the enabling environment. And also, I must add one thing to here, to this, because we are talking about the technology, we are talking about the transforming agriculture. And in one of the era in this country, I think people think that agriculture is not a science. Anything that anybody can do agriculture, because they look at agriculture is not as a science subject. So, there are a lot of research and development should go into agriculture and bringing the transformation in agriculture. So therefore, the enabling environment, the policies should having all these things into on board in transforming agriculture into a good future.
Thank you, Professor. We actually started the session or ran 20 minutes roughly behind time. So would that be okay with you all if I could continue it till around 15 minutes past 5? All right, thank you. This is a very, a connected question, so I'll direct it to Mr. Munasinghe, and then let me move on to Mr. Dematava. How do we ensure that climate finance mechanisms support both adaptation and mitigation in food systems? Question number 1. And a connected question is that what should be the role of the government compared to the development partners and private sector in funding shift towards sustainable agriculture?
Thank you again. So I think, partly this has been addressed in various, through Professor Maharabe's keynote address and then our answers. Fine. So
I think more importantly, I would like to insist on the second part of it, the role of the government compared to the development partners. These are the multilateral, bilateral agencies, and the private sector, both, local as well as overseas, in funding shift towards sustainable agriculture.
Yeah, as I told you earlier, some of the tools that we have used, like we have a number of tools that we have already put in place, like climate smart agriculture, even sustainable financing, some new techniques and all. One thing I understand, before we even going into discuss the role of different stakeholders, we need to understand how suitable they are to our context. They should be. Otherwise, they will not be the success stories in other countries. But then this is a different format. Sri Lanka is different in many aspects always. Therefore, it's very important that we have that kind of an analysis first and try to understand the key elements of those new models to bring into the country. And that is itself the role of different personnel. Say, scientists, academia, they can simply find them out. They can do research, they can bring them out and table and say to the government, they can say, these are available, these are good, these could be used in these ways. Then, okay, government needs to do what? Which one is the best? And which one should be made as a policy? Or to implement it, to bring acts, the regulatory framework. Without them, you can't go, no? Then the problem comes, okay, finance, money. Then you invite development partners. You invite, say, World Bank, ADB for loans. You invite development other partners for grants to try out bringing models. Then, select certain, audiences and tracks maybe, or say different communities and prove those models and make it happen. Now we cultivate in this country. Like, we saw in Professor Slice a lot. Now, these were introduced by this country through the Department of Agriculture and the relevant audience, even Mahavali, right? So somebody introduced, somebody said it's good, so that we are still following. You may remember, it was called Yaya program, Yaya Vedasatana, right? Still we have it now. And now FAO is trying a new model for the Yaya program, tracks. We have selected 100 tracks, right? Each 50 hectares. So 5,000 hectares, we're working with 10,000 farmers in 4 districts now to see a change in the way we work. Answering your question. We're trying to bring new ways to make them understand their new roles and bring the tools and frameworks, put on the ground. And Professor Maharabe said, current fertilizer is not enough. The department recommendation is not the best right now. My friend Priyanka, has already spoken to me one day. Say, obviously, then why don't we prove it? We're trying to do it in certain tracks as demonstration sites and to show we have already delivered results. And it's true, sir, we have an average 22% increase, average. And there was a certain 40% increase in certain tracks. We are now trying to understand how they did much, much better than others. You know? So these things have to come on board. No? If you take China, it's over 8, 9 average, right? So still, we are good. Slides showed very well, we are good. But the way we run into the future, we will have a lot of problems if we don't change. We really need to change. Private sector role, bring them up. We are there to help you, right? We are working with DFCC now, right? For the first time in the history, you know, FAO DFCC partnership to make entire fisheries sector, fisheries industry climate resilient. Just like climate smart agriculture, it is climate smart fisheries, right? We have just begun the discussions with commercial bank, you know, Kaushal knows. So we're just trying to bring commercial bank onto the picture, you know, bring in their expertise. But it is not just like you join and you bring your interest, motivation, but beyond that, bring the novel, you know, say, systems that you want to put in place. And for that, people need to support. Government, private sector, development partners, academia, even the media, I would say, need to take this up. Not always the issues that we have, but also the good things country can do, you know, likewise. So this is the way to go, I guess. You know, I'm sure we will see the results in future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Munsingha. Coming back to Priyanka, you come from a strong private sector perspective, so I would want this question answered purely from a private sector window. To what extent is the private sector, including agribusinesses, genuinely stepping up to drive innovation, adaptation in agriculture, and to uphold the environmental and social safeguards?
Okay, Anujan, right. I think it is very comfortable me to, if I take my experience and my organization experience, not to promote my organization. But as DMO, we started our agriculture sector. So my chairman, he invited me in 2017. At that time, I was working in the same sector in another company for 23 years. So when we are starting this beautiful organization, so actually, according to his vision, he wanted to do something for the stomach of the people in this country. Because as DMO, we are into automobile, we are into engineering, we are into big things, and but agriculture is something totally different. But he wanted to do that was his vision. So then we had to bring it to a reality. So when we were starting this, first of all, I wanted to tell you, all the private sector companies that are in agriculture sector, they are doing a lot of contribution to this agriculture development or innovation or productivity development. So from our case, so when we were starting, we wanted to, actually, we didn't want to involve 1 or 2 places in the agriculture. So we wanted to involve in entire agriculture value chain, where we can improve and where we can add value to the system. So that was our system. Even actually we went down, even as an example, my agriculture officers who are working in the field, because we are highly connected with the farmers, their designations are, they are productivity promotion officers, because we are talking about productivity. Because we have a productivity problem in this country. Though we are getting some productivity, so we are not at that level. If you take most of the crops that we are growing, if we take a productivity level as the potential as 100%, most of the crops we are 50% down the line. So after doing a lot of things, so now it is about 7 to 8 years. So I will get, with the time, I will get only 2 examples what we are doing in agriculture. Okay, we have a division called, when we are operating in agriculture, we have a separate division for agriculture technology. So we did research, we introduced fertigation for tea industry. very recently. Now we are passing nearly 2 years. And normally in our country, 1 acre we are plucking only, our national average is around 220 kilograms per acre per month. If you take maximum, we are going, some exceptions are there, but normally we are going up to 250. With the fertigation, with the subsurface irrigation, we have proved, now it is very popular, I think we have tied up with commercial bank also. So we are getting 1,500 to 2,000 kilograms per acre per month from the same field. That is the potential. That is how, as private sector, we are contributing, or we are, because then just calculate the margins and the cost component that we are getting. And I talked about soil. We have introduced a technology where we work with frequencies. So we are working with frequencies and we are developing root system. Because if we can develop a root system of any plant, then it can absorb nutrients from deep layers, water from deep layers. It will stand against drought. So we have to improve our root system. We have to improve mycorrhiza. So we have brought that technology. It is very popular among this country. So then it has contributed to improve the productivity of this country. Finally, we talked about urea. So I'm challenging. So we can give the same effect that we are expecting, the volume that we are importing into the country. Just imagine, we are importing nearly 350,000 metric tons roughly to this country, urea, because it is very volatile product. Just after applying into the soil, up to 98% it can be wasted. But you can keep, based on the soil condition, 30%, 20%, yes, it can remain in the soil. But all other parties getting wasted. Just imagine, these days, 1 urea metric ton is around $400 US. To import 350,000 metric tons, the country requirement at the moment. So we have to invest around 40 billion, 50 billion Sri Lankan rupees. But we are wasting more than 50%. So we have introduced, as private sector, we have introduced a product called Limas, where you can control the activity of waste, the nitrogen waste from urea, which is proven technology. So we have introduced, very popular among farmers. Those are the very simple, very basic 3 examples that I wanted to give or bring here to prove how, as private sector, we are trying to bring innovation, technology to this country. But finally, I wanted to tell you, we need collaboration. So we can't do it alone, because we have to collaborate. Thank you.
Absolutely, Priyanka. Just last question to Professor Silva. I think if you can make it very short at the interest of time. How do we reconcile short-term yield concerns with long-term benefits of regenerative approaches with regard to sustainable agriculture? Because by and large, the short-term yield losses may be something which is inevitable or which can be mitigated with technology and innovative approaches. But how can we reconcile? How can we communicate to the smallholder farmers and make them geared towards this change?
Yeah, for the climate smart agriculture or the regenerative agriculture, I think, as I mentioned before, they are not very new things that we are practicing. As the other gentleman also mentioned, that we have been practicing these things in our past. So, say for example, the Betma system, the Yaya system, so the shared cultivation. So all these things are climate smart practices. So they are sort of aware of these practices, and also the communication is very important, and also the awareness is very important in this climate smart agriculture and regenerative agriculture, because we have to, we are dealing with the people. So therefore, we have to have a good policy in the making awareness, in the public awareness particularly. And also the technology transfer is very important, and the policies should be geared up in technology transfer, and also reaching the community with the technology that we are developing. And also when you talk about the short-term and long-term, the technologies, that the short-term technologies can sort of bring solutions for the farmer's doorstep of the farmer, but if we can make them aware of what we are gearing up and what we sort of achieve in the long run, then that's what I said, that the communication is the key here in all the actions that we are dealing or introducing in this sense. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So as we have come towards the very end of this session, I would like to thank our esteemed panelists for a truly rich and thought-provoking discussion. Over the past hour, we have explored just not only about the challenges, but also possibilities that lie ahead of for transformation of our food systems. We began understanding the urgency and potential of scaling regenerative and climate-smart agriculture, where the focus is not only on yields, but also on restoring ecosystems and building long-term resilience. Then we looked at the role of innovation, from digital tools to biotechnology, and then how building strong ecosystems that connects farmers, researchers, and agri-entrepreneurs is a key to driving real impact at the grassroots levels. On the policy front and the finance front, we heard that while public support is critical, unlocking climate finance and creating enabling frameworks will require collaborations across government, private sector, development partners, and more importantly, the people element, considering that it's farmers are part of that's a strong part of this ecosystem. And finally, the need for inclusion and climate-responsive value chains was emphasized over and over again, ones that give space for smallholder farmers, women, and youth, while supporting the generational shift towards more sustainable and equitable food systems. So it becomes very clear there is no single solution, but what's equally clear is that the transformation we seek is possible if only we act together, intentionally and urgently. Thank you once again for our keynote speaker and the three panelists here, and more importantly to all of you all who have been following this program, and to the Commercial Bank organizing team. Thank you very much.